I made a video examining the similarities between Mr. Satan and Hulk Hogan, and I very specifically teased making another video about all the wrestling spoofs in Dragon Ball. So you can consider this video the sequel. Cause let's face it, baby, these days, you gotta have a sequel.
Cause let's face it, baby, these days, you gotta have a sequel.
Thanks, buddy. Oh, speaking of which, I'll give a shout out to anyone in my next video if you can correctly answer the following. How many references to Scream 1996 were in this video? There's already been 2 so far if you're wondering. So stay tuned, cause this one's a Scream, baby. Oh yeah, and don't forget to timestamp them either. Andre the Giant is arguably the most famous wrestler ever, so it's no surprise that he'd end up in this video. He was one of wrestling's biggest attractions all over the world, and he actually competed in Japan in the 70s under the name Monster Husimov. The point is, people knew of Andre all around the world, so it's no surprise he was spoofed in Dragon Ball, chapter 114. In a prelims match for the 22nd tournament, Kuririn squashed him so fast that Toriyama didn't even bother giving him a name. He eventually did get a name, in the anime. In episode 85 of Dragon Ball, Yamcha put this dude over hard, explaining to Goku that this giant was a former pro wrestling world champion named Anton the Great. Anton the Great, Andre the Giant. What a coinky-dink. And Yamcha goes on. He mentions that Anton was so strong that he ran out of opponents and had to wrestle underground. And during his fight, he catches Kuririn in his grip. A grip so strong he can apply 400 kilograms of pressure. Kuririn sells this for a bit, until he decides to cut the crap, then proceeds to job this guy out with a judo flip. And this episode, by the way, aired October 28th of 1987, which, in terms of notoriety, might actually be Andre's biggest year. He headlined WrestleMania with Hulk Hogan in front of 78,000 people, even though the WWE likes to claim it was 90,000. Still though, this was 2 of the most famous wrestlers in the world going at it. And this photo of the 2 on the screen has got to be the most famous pro wrestling picture ever taken. Also, the chapter that Toriyama spoofed him in, 114, first premiered March 3rd of 1987, which was just a few weeks before Andre took on Hogan in one of the biggest WrestleMania main events ever, if not the biggest. Speaking of Hogan, he made a cameo in this episode, just a few short minutes before old Anton the Great ripoff showed up. Come to think of it, this arc has a pretty good amount of wrestling references. The whole tournament style setting is pretty similar to King of the Ring and other wrestling tournaments, and in episode 100, Goku even put Tenshin Han in the Boston Crab, aka the Walls of Jericho. And it actually worked in getting Ten to retract 2 of his arms, so nice job. The other Andre spoof takes us to Dragon Ball Movie 3, A Mystical Great Adventure. This movie premiered July 9th of 1988. This also happens to be the same year that Andre became the WWF's world champion.
Yeah, for like 2 seconds.
Anyway, in the film, a tournament is held where the winner will receive anything his heart desires from the Emperor of Mifan, Chaozu. Regardless, Yamcha's first up, and his opponent, who wasn't even given a name, steps into the ring, causing the camera to shake just like Anton. They look the same, the scene's even directed the same, they sound the same. Actually, here's a fun fact. Daisuke Gori, the same man that would go on to voice Mr. Satan, aka Hulk Hogan, who I dedicated my last video to, is also credited for voicing Anton the Great in episode 85. See how it comes full circle? Funny, isn't it? Well, Yamcha made quick work of this dude, and while there are many giants in wrestling, it's pretty easy to tell that these 2 were parodies of mid to late 80s Andre. And that's all I got to say about that. Yajirobe's mask. This could be a parody of masked wrestlers in general, but there's no denying that this mask is identical to the one worn by Dick the Destroyer. With a name like that, you know his girlfriend loved him. But on a serious note, Dick the Destroyer's popularity took off in the 70s in Japan while Toriyama was still in his youth. This popularity can be traced back to May 24th, 1963. On this night, he wrestled Rikidozan, who's known as the father of pro wrestling in Japan. This match was allegedly viewed by over 70 million people, which would be the largest in Japanese history. Dick the Destroyer would go on to be the first American wrestler signed to a Japanese wrestling company, and would find himself in Japanese talk shows, comedies, and music albums, and more, cementing his status as a gaijin talento, or a foreign talent, a celebrity who's exclusive to Japan. So while he may not have been a big deal in the States like Stone Cold or John Cena, in Japan he was a whole nother story. So there's no way Toriyama would have missed him in his youth. And even during the creation of this arc in 1988, because Dick would retire from wrestling in Japan in 1993. The anime staff got a bit more mileage out of Masked Yajirobe. In his first fight in the prelims in episode 135, he took on a dude that looked like the Iron Sheik. Yajirobe beat him cleanly, so the Sheik fake just had to get his heat back post-match. But that wasn't gonna work for Yajirobe, brother, so he decided to eat his butt and make him humble. No, seriously, he took a mouthful of that booty. This was probably just a funny nod to Dick the Destroyer biting Rikidozan's ear after the match. Did you know, in Dragon Ball, there's even freaking pro wrestling in space, bro? I gotta give a huge thank you to Kanzenshu for finding this one. This information's actually from a 3-page feature in the 1991 number 25 issue of Weekly Shonen Jump. The big green dude, no, not that one. I'm talking about Cooler's henchman from DBZ movie 5, Dure, was like Space Goldberg, a galactic Goldberg, if you will. Apparently he was born on planet Cooler number 256, formerly known as planet Bepper. Bonus if you can get that name pun. The planet had a continent that was constantly surrounded by magma, which gave him a tough body. So what did he decide to do with that tough body? Of course, go into pro wrestling. He wrestled in the Space Pro Wrestling League, winning 300 straight matches undefeated, killing all of his opponents in the process. And it was because of this bloodthirst that he switched to becoming a Planet Warrior instead. Now see, this got me curious, because now I'm wondering if he was a heel or a face. Tell me what y'all think in the comments. I personally think heel, because like, you don't just murder hundreds of people and expect anyone to cheer for you after, right? Nah, what am I talking about? Okay, so there was some Mr. Satan trivia that I left out of my previous video, so I'm just going to include it here. In the 2003 Dragon Power / Ask Akira Toriyama interview, when pro wrestling regarding Mr. Satan is brought up, Toriyama says he's not really a fan. And in the Dragon Ball Forever Q&A, he also claims that he doesn't believe Mr. Satan is as strong as Bob Sapp, who among other things was a former pro wrestler himself. And how could I not mention all the over-the-top and ridiculous names Mr. Satan gives for his finishing moves? It's everywhere in wrestling. But of course, in Dragon Ball, finishing moves aren't just limited to Mr. Satan. It's also funny that his real name is Maku. In English, this can be pronounced as Mark, a term that originated during the carnival days. It applies to fans who aren't aware of the inner workings of the business. They are the marks. And lastly, in the Viz manga, he's introduced as Hercule, the former wrestler who went by the ring name of Mr. Satan.